Welcome to KSOK Uncensored. Tonight's guest is James McCoy Taylor. You may know him if you are a Bachelorette fan. He is an outcast of Bachelor Nation, but he is so much more than that. And we are going to spend the next 27 minutes diving in and getting to know James much better than what you see in the headlines. James, thank you so much for taking time to join me this evening.
Thank you for having me and helping get some of that bad stuff out of the headlines, right? Switching that around a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. I'm all about it. So, James, you grew up in Katy, Texas, and I want to know, I like going back into what made you who you are today. What were you like in your youth?
Um, Dude, I was a funny, weird little kid. I was loud. I was always loud. I was always a boy. Climbing stuff, doing dumb stuff. Never like the kind, like definitely the kind where my teacher's like, he probably has ADHD. I was in that era where every
Yeah.
guy, he look at him, just watch him for 2 minutes, he's got something. So, I was like that all over the place growing up, but I was a good kid, raised in the church, Sunday nights, Sunday mornings, obviously, and Wednesday nights. I mean, that's just was my life. I knew nothing different. And then like in high school, definitely not bad trouble, not bad trouble, but just like jokes, like pranks. I would do these huge, elaborate pranks in this big high school, and everyone kind of knew me as, you're the guy that did that weird thing. That why how'd you think of that? Why'd you do that? You went to jail for that? I went to jail a few times for stupid pranks, like innocent but dumb.
Wait, I did
Um,
not find this in my research.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Oh, further expand, please.
I do some work with the Trump team, and they've given me crap a few times because Secret Service is like, I don't know about this guy.
Oh my gosh, I
It's
had no
just
idea.
fun painting water towers, pieing people in the face,
Okay.
stupid stuff like that. So and then
Wow.
all of a sudden, yeah, go to college, play football, get hurt. My second favorite thing to do was play music, and so joined a band. Um, Started singing for the band, and we started opening up some pretty good gigs. I remember calling my mom. I signed a grocery bag at HEB, and I
Ah!
made it. Mom made it. I'm famous, and so music for a little bit. Transferred to another school. Graduated from there. Finally, it took me forever to graduate because I was working, figuring out, do I want to do music? Do I not? I suck at school, but I need to get a degree. And so I did all those things, and music kind of stayed a hobby. Started a little company in Atlanta with my two best friends from Texas A&M, Gig and Whoop, and then we sold that company, and that's kind of like my growing up, like snapshot, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, just good times with good friends, and mostly in Texas, a little bit in Arkansas, and then moved to Atlanta to kind of start like real life. Sold that business, and then went on The Bachelor, like you were saying, and that's kind of like the next chapter, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. It's really cool to be able to hear what you were like before all of this. I think that's important for people to hear as well. And I want
Yeah,
to dive into, and thank you for sharing that with us, by the way. And I love the
yeah,
prank aspect. I'm a big prankster myself. Never been
it's the
arrested
best.
for it, but I haven't
Yeah, I
taken it
took them too
there.
far. I'm still just a
Yeah.
big kid, so like who I was
Oh
then is
my
still just the same.
gosh.
I'm still a big kid, but yeah,
Yeah, I say that about myself. I'm like a 13-year-old boy humor-wise.
yeah,
So
same,
still love all
same.
of that humor. I don't think I'll ever
Yeah,
stop. So you're a controversial figure. We've touched on that before and within
I guess.
Bachelor Nation primarily. I want
Yeah.
to know, how does it feel when you hear that about yourself?
Well, it's strange. It's very strange for me because being when I was on the show, they made me seem, and I hope I am, but they definitely made me seem like all the moms loved me. I'll say that. Like I was like the nice Christian sweet boy that all the moms like. That's a good dude. He should be the next Bachelor. He's nice. No, there was no controversy with me whatsoever. And a lot of other people, obviously, that we had like a villain or two, especially one really bad villain who's really actually a villain in real life. Like he's just a crazy, wild, kind of morally bad person, Chad. I'm still friends with him because it's hilarious to just watch him. Anywhere he goes, just turns into a crap show, like in real life. Um, and so he was all the villain we needed, and the other guys had like their own little drama. One guy, did he have a girlfriend while he went on this show? Stuff like that. Like I just had no
Yeah.
controversy, and now fast forward 5 years later, it's like now I'm the most controversial one, and like, what did I do? I don't think I
Right.
did anything still, but somehow I'm the controversial one. It's just I think it is less of a commentary on me and more of a commentary on like the clown show world we all live in right now. That's
Yes.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am a clown and everyone else is
No.
laughing at me. Some of them are, but I still think I'm right. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And we are living in a clown world right now. Everything is completely backwards. And so being canceled is something that is very common, and people go to great lengths not to be canceled. And I don't know if
Yeah,
I necessarily agree with that, but sometimes it's
yeah,
just survival, especially when you are in the public eye. So, I want to talk to you about something I found when I was researching for our interview here. Now, there is a YouTuber. His name is Dave Neal, and he has a relatively large reach, at least on YouTube. He has a big following, and he's accused you of being a political grifter. And I don't know if he necessarily knows the definition of what a grifter is, because I think that
yeah,
he's quite a ways off. Let me just provide a brief explanation. A political grifter preys on those at their weakest points, manipulating real human emotions. I don't necessarily think that, again, I don't think he knew what he was talking about. And let me be honest, this is to Dave, someone that spends their days really exposing drama within Bachelor Nation, you have to really question
yeah.
who they are as a person and do they have a life of
Yeah.
their own. So he doesn't hold much weight with me, but that's out there, and there's a lot of comments on that. And I want to know what your thoughts are on hearing that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, that's it's news to me, but it's not news to me. I mean, I'm glad you told me. I hear stuff all the time, and my friends just know. Don't even tell them. I don't. I truly don't look anything up. I mean, enough people.
Smart.
I'll have some girl that I'm interested in or something like just like barely meet, and I just think she's cute, and I'll be like, hey, what's up? And then like 2 minutes later, she'll be like, oh my gosh, don't talk to me. I can't believe you're trying, you're the guy that this guy said this about it. There's this video about you. And I'm like, what? I don't even
Yeah.
know. And I'd prefer to keep it that way because there's going to be things that are said about me. Like I said, how like moms were like, marry my daughter, that made me seem way too
Right.
good. Like TV has made me seem way too good. And then internet will sometimes make me still seem too good or too bad. And I'm just me, like in the
Right.
middle of all that, a human. I
Yeah.
try to be a good and so I just try not to literally even read it anymore. And I did for a while. I was a loser, and I was like, oh my gosh, they said this about me. Right after the show, I'd never had any kind of notoriety or fame. I wasn't looking for any of that. And then all of a sudden, it was just on me. And I was like, this is kind of fun, but holy crap, I want everyone to think good about me. Let me go try to like type something out to everybody and explain myself. And one day I was like, screw that. That's not a life. I'm not. I don't. No one deserves that explanation. I'm going to get judged by
Right.
God one day. That's it. So whatever, they can all
Yeah.
think whatever they want. But
That's
to
really good
answer,
to hear from you.
yeah, yeah, and I mean that. Like truly, I had no idea until you just told me that. But yeah, to answer that, I don't know exactly what he was referring to too much, but I can say as far as a political grifter, I remember when I first started my first political thing right after The Bachelor, I lost a ton of followers, which I think we said we're going to touch on that.
Yeah.
But I lost a ton of followers, and just by saying that I liked Trump on Twitter, and then Bachelor Nation is mostly female, and so then it's
Right.
like, oh, you must hate women and black people, and like you just suck, and I'm like, you liked me 5 minutes ago, and I just said I voted for this man, and now I'm that bad. Like, who are you? Where's your moral compass if you can't even tell that I was all those things and you loved me until 3 minutes ago when you read a tweet? But long story short, after I lost all those people, I just decided I was like, you know what, I'm going to double down and support this man and make a
Yeah.
song about it. And I remember my little brother and my best friend and one of my parents telling me, do not put that song on your album. And I was like, I'm going to. I'm doing it. I don't care if it drags me down worse. And I did. And weirdly, that song is the one that went viral and really helped my whole music career more than any other song. I mean, it's over like 20 million plays now, just the song I made about Trump. And it just
Wow.
I think that shows you. I thought it would, if anything, go downhill, right? Like
Right.
like take me down, but at least I was standing for something, and I made a grand exit from my whole fame platform. And then
Yeah.
it actually did the opposite and put me in politics and got me in touch with people that I like and things I believe in. And so, yeah, I don't know if that's grifting,
Yeah.
then I'll be a grifter all day. I want to sing about love and country stuff and things that
Yeah.
I care about. Right. So,
Yeah, as long
whatever
as you're
that
true
means.
to yourself, grifter isn't even in the equation, and it sounds like that's what you're being. And it is difficult. The Bachelorette show puts you in a difficult space because they did paint you to be this letter of perfection, really, right? There's nothing
A little,
negative. He's like the nicest guy in the world. And then so you can do nothing but let people down, right? Because you're human like everyone else. And really the way that you were painted was almost inhuman because you were
very
painted as
well.
this
Yeah.
perfect person, perfect guy in every way. So I can see how you're trying to live up to this perception, but it's just impossible because you're human like everyone else. And so I completely
Very, very
see
human.
how this fall may have happened, right? For what was it? 40,000
40,000 in
followers
one day.
in
Yeah.
one day.
One
So
day. Yeah. It's crazy.
that shows you what happens when people decide to be true to themselves when they're in the public eye, and that is brutal. So I want to go back to Dave Neal, the YouTuber, when you said you weren't sure what he was referring to. He was
Yeah.
referring to one of the things he had said, the main thing he focused on, let's just say, was when you publicly stated that you were going to be in DC for January 6th. I believe you posted a statement, said, see y'all there, something to the effect of that.
Yeah.
Either the 5th
100%.
or the 4th, but right before. And
Yeah.
then you went skiing instead. So he really ripped you a new
Yeah.
one for that. And I can see how people might have been like, what's going on? So I want you to really
Sure.
explain that one for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually funny. I think I'm laughing over here, like genuinely laughing because um, that was like the whole deal was like it's just so now we know it is January 6th, right? It like holds some sort of esteem and will evoke emotion in everybody one way or the other, right? Like that was a big day. Again, one way or the other, however you want to look at it. But back then, it was just another rally, right? It was just supposed to be a rally. And I've gone to like, I don't know, 20 Trump rallies, I've been to a bunch of them. I had planned on going to that one. I had a plane ticket to that one, but I didn't feel like I owed anybody anything. I just was saying, hey, I'm going. I encourage people to go to every single one, especially in Texas where I'm at. I'd drive to Dallas or, of course, I'm in Houston. So I went to one in Houston, took my dad to one in H Town. But I've gone to many around the country, and I always encourage people to go, and I'll meet up with friends when I'm there. This one was a little more last minute, where I was like, dude, this is supposed to be big. People were talking about it like everybody's going to this one because he was kind of pissed about what just happened with the whole presidency, and it sounded like some things weren't really right. We wanted to go support our man, so I was
Right.
going to go support him like I had a million other times. And then I just had my buddy call me BT from. Actually, he just called me. It popped up on my little screen. I don't know if you saw me
Nice.
click that off randomly. He didn't even call
No.
me that much. He just moved back to Texas, but shout out BT if you're watching this. But yeah, he's my best friend, and so long story short, he calls me and says, "Dude, we're going to Park City, Utah. We just had an opening for this beautiful place. You and the girl I was dating at the time, who actually we ended things, and I've never told anyone this. We were about to get engaged, but things
Oh,
ended
wow.
because the FBI went to my parents' house because she was freaked out about losing her job because I was talking about the vax, and that didn't fly at her company, and her parents are very liberal, so it probably would have ended anyway. Not saying she was the
I
one.
think
There
he
were some
dodged a
red
bullet.
flags. Yeah, for sure. I think so too. She was conservative, but yeah, it just was like she was freaked out for a lot of reasons. And looking back, I don't blame her. But all that to say, she ended up coming with me last minute from Atlanta. I came from Houston. We both flew up to Park City. I flew up at like 6 a.m. the next morning. I didn't have time to tell anybody, hey, I'm not going anymore. I didn't even feel like I owed anyone an explanation that I
Yeah.
wasn't going anymore. I just said, hey, I'll see y'all there. I had hoped to, I had planned to. Things changed. I got a cool time. I'm not making up something like my mom died. No, I went skiing
Yeah.
for fun. I supported a ton, and I did what I did. And I'm, I feel like I don't owe anyone an apology for that.
Yeah, and
So
actually, as you explain that, it makes so much sense to me that,
yeah,
you did attend a lot of rallies, and that really was what it was supposed to be, like the largest rally,
yeah.
and
I
it
mean, I was
turned
going
into
for
much
me. I
more.
wanted to see it all. Yeah, I wanted to see it all, and of
Right.
course support. But anyway.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you explaining that, and it really provided me a lot of clarity, and hopefully
Yeah.
everyone watching really understands that as well. I want to talk about the negative aspects of self-censorship. I follow an international coach and speaker. Her name's Africa Brooke. She's amazing, and she speaks out a lot about self-censorship. And I'm going to read two quotes to you because I'm curious what your thoughts are on this.
Yeah.
Are we truly free if we're constantly afraid of exploring and expressing our own thoughts and ideas? Are we truly free if we are afraid to stand in our values? That's pretty powerful stuff right there. What are your thoughts on self censorship as a whole?
Yeah, well, man, I mean, first of all, those are both great statements. I like them a lot, and I mean, even asking that question, even saying those statements shows where her mind's at, which is right where it should be, which is it's a fact that we have to do that to kind of preserve ourselves, right,
Right.
or our image out there these days, which is sad. At the same time, it's why I really respect the heck out of people like Dr. Martin Luther King, who said some things like that guy truly like stood up and went against the grain and said, "Hey, I'm going to do this. We're doing it. We're going to stand up in love. We're going to get some hate. We're going to get people who violently disagree with us, but I'm still going to stand for it." And then guys like Colin Kaepernick, like kneel for the anthem when they have it made here in America. Like people have already paved the way, and they're like, "Wow, I can't believe I'm getting any backlash." Right? Like
Yeah.
so that's the other side of it is, and I'm in the same boat where it's like, yeah, sure. If I want to say something in today's, I have it made here. I have it made here. And am I going to get a little bit of crap and might I get canceled a little bit? Sure. I will. A few less people will follow me. I'll get shadow banned on freaking TikTok, but like, I'm still
Yeah.
fine. What's the better thing here, James? Well, why don't you pick the right thing? The right thing is saying what you believe and let the dice, fall where they may. So, that's the thing
Yes.
to do. And yes, and yes, so she's right in both those things. And
Yeah.
sadly, I still have to do it a little more than I want to not get totally kicked off of some channels and platforms. But
Right.
at the end of the day, it's still my decision. I could go out there and say pretty much anything I wanted, real bold, and that message would get out. Maybe I wouldn't get any more messages in the future out because I'd be cut off. But
Yeah. I've
I feel like
experienced
that's a
that.
line
I
we
get
all
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but you have. I know you have. So that's a line we're all walking right now, and yes,
Yeah.
I think it's just you got to figure it out.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. So, I want to provide everyone watching and listening with a definition of self censorship because I talk about it a lot, but I don't think I've ever given anyone an actual definition. So, it's the act of intentionally and voluntarily withholding information from others and from yourself. This can be for a number of reasons, but it's usually done out of fear or pressure. It's usually a form of protecting yourself from either perceived emotional or physical or occupational harm. And a lot of people they self-censor just to stay employed. And I get self-censoring in the workplace. I just came out of a 20-year banking career and politics, all of that was always completely off the table. I never took part in conversations
You've been
like that.
working since you were 5.
Hey, you're good. That took me a second. Like, what did I just say? You're funny. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so it's insane that I had to do that for so long, but it was the right thing to do. But now it's at a whole other point where these topics are being brought up in the workplace and by opposing member, usually by the left, right? They're bringing up these topics at work, and then we're expected to
100%.
just take it. And my advice to people watching, when you're in the workplace, you just don't take part at all. Just walk away, right? And we call it gray rocking in my leadership podcast. Just gray rock them, walk away, put that flame out. But in your personal life, we should not be self censoring, which is exactly what you decided to not do, James. And so I
Yeah.
have a lot of
Yeah.
respect for that because, I'm small potatoes in comparison to the following that you have, but I've felt the negative aspects of especially when I first started on TikTok, get a lot of hate get called bootlicker, all sorts of disgusting things, right? I didn't even know what that term
All
meant
stuff. Yeah.
until someone
Yeah.
called me that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what is that? Oh.
Yeah.
So
What's
anyway,
that?
so it's like
Yeah.
you just get called every name in the book and they attack your looks and all of that. So, anyways, been there, done that, but I have a lot of respect for you for going out and just being true to yourself and no longer self-censoring. I want to talk about something though. You when you were on with Ivory Hecker, you had mentioned that there was a time there that you did feel like you had to kind of play along and self-censor. And I believe this is when you were speaking about it was when Trump had just recently decided to run. So I'm thinking this is like late 15, maybe even early 16. Was that when you were
Yeah.
in the height of the Bachelorette?
That was actually when I was like applying for it, and I started realizing I'm out
Oh,
there. Yeah, there's like 100. There's 100 guys that fly out to finalist weekend, and they rent a whole hotel. You like get off a plane. They have your name held up there. It's like Taylor. You tell them your first name. They take your phone. You hop in like a blacked out vehicle, and they take you to this hotel. And there's 100 guys, and you like don't talk to anybody until they just knock on your door and bust in, and sign all these weird NDA things. It's really weird. It's
huh.
really weird. It's kind of fun thinking back, but it's strange times. And then they I kind of was like, these people like me. Like I think I'm making it kind of far here. And they picked 35 of us, and then that's the show. And then they all let us loose with one girl, in the mansion in Malibu. And so before that happened, I noticed like some of the higher up producers are in there. You could just tell they got that kind of, you know, they're smart, they're suave, they're but they kind
Yeah.
of greasy LA, like, whatever that feeling. I'm like, this lady's been, she's big time. And I just kind of knew that. And like, there was just little talks about what's going on in the presidency. And can you believe Trump's even running? He's at like 1% weight now. He's actually doing okay. And like, what a joke. This guy, did you hear about how he thinks about women? And like, oh my gosh, like all this kind of stuff is like that voice would personify their beliefs, and you know what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
so I'm like, let me just shut up about how I really feel and just like go with this big. Yeah, yeah, that dude
Yeah.
sucks. Like because I'm trying to get on the show, and I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
who
Okay.
cares? I'm not changing this lady's mind. It's like so whatever. You play the game
Yeah.
a little bit, but yeah, definitely did it there. And then right after I was like, wait, I'm starting to realize, people are like, I've never seen people this hot or cold about a human in my life. Like you could go talk to a Muslim about Jesus Christ or the other way around or anything, and like no one would hate a human as much as they hate Donald Trump. It's so
I
crazy to me
know.
still.
It
And I'm
is.
like, what? I just couldn't wrap my head around it. So for a while there, I was like, let me just see what's going on with this hate and kind of just walk in the middle and kind of, yeah, self censor. So I did as long as I could. And then I'm like, this is crazy. I just got to say how
Yeah.
crazy, So,
Right,
yeah.
right. And I know what you mean about the vibe. I live in Portland, Oregon, and so I'm right outside of it,
Oh,
actually, if I want
yeah.
to be technical. But
Prayers,
you just
prayers to
get
you.
the
Prayers to you.
Livy. Thank you. I need prayers. We get the Libby
Yeah.
vibe. I'm like, oh yeah, they're a liberal. And I do
Yeah.
that all day long. Everywhere I go, I just am scanning wherever I'm at, and I can just tell you who they voted for. Once in a while, I'm
You could see that.
surprised, but generally
Yeah.
not. And so I completely
Yeah.
understand that. Did you ever feel that self-censorship started impacting you negatively, either physically, because holding emotions in and holding your opinion and your true self in can have some negative emotional and physical effects. Did you ever experience that?
Kristen, I never did it that much. I didn't ever hold it in for long. I can't hold much in for long. So like when I
Yeah,
say I'm holding
I'm
it
the
in,
same way.
it'd be like it'd be like gray. What would you call it? Gray rocking? I like that.
Yes, yes.
Gray rock.
Gray
Yeah. I
rocking.
might have like I like walked away or like did it for like real quick with like somebody and then like the conversation changed, but like it definitely was never. That's why it didn't last very long. Right after I got off the show, right? Like it was going to come out. It was kind of coming out. I'd kind of like act like I was playing devil's advocate and say what I really thought, but there was always a touch of it coming out. And one day I'm like, it's just coming out, So I never, no, definitely never any emotional or physical like opposite of well being to myself
Yeah,
through
good.
that. I didn't hold it in long. Yeah.
Good, good. I'm glad you didn't. And I want to talk about let's segue over to Chris Harrison. And I love The Bachelor, The
The
Bachelorette.
goat.
Once he left, I was out though too. I'm very strong. I took so much flack for years for watching these shows from my husband. He just harassed me over it. But there's just something, I mean, I'm not alone. Look how many people are into it.
No.
But
Yeah.
once they screwed him over by canning him for making a very benign statement, I'm very much a principal woman and I was out. So I'm briefly aware of he basically asked for someone to be shown grace who was being canceled. Wasn't it a female that was on The Bachelor? So she was part of Bachelor
Yes, it
Nation,
sure was.
and they were trying to
Sure
cancel
was.
her. Can you go into that a bit for us?
Yeah, basically there was a girl who attended. She went to freaking Ole Miss, right? Which, if especially if you're from the South, which a lot of these viewers are, Southerners love The Bachelor and love these love stories and all this stuff. And um, yeah, she went to Ole Miss, hotty toddy, right? It's a good school here in the South, and it's in Mississippi, Oxford, and I mean, they're the rebels. They're the Ole Miss rebels, right? They're just paying a little tribute to where they come from. These people are not racist. I have black friends who went there. I know both colored people who go there now and went there in the past, and it's fine. You don't really think about it, right? They're just, I'm sure they're like the Washington Redskins. I'm sure there's people I haven't heard about it as much, but who want them to
Yeah.
change their name or whatever.
Yeah.
And they did for a while. Actually, I think they went to the Ole Miss Black Bears, which is just
Wow.
like what everyone was like. What, this is so weird. But
Yeah.
even their shops didn't go with it. They still sold old Ole Miss Rebel stuff, and they're just in the South, and that's what they do. So it's not surprising that they had like some fraternity asked her to go to what are those things called? You might know the word better than me.
Oh
It's
my
like an
gosh.
old South
Oh,
ball.
like a fraternity.
Um,
Oh, I have no idea. I went to community
it's like
college.
it's an old South, yeah, it's an old South ball. There's a name for them, and they say the name is really controversial right now. No one would have
Oh,
thought anything of it 10 years ago. No one will think anything of it in the future. Back then, it was just a thing that they just went to. It's like, how sorry are you supposed to be? Yes, I live on the earth. Am I supposed to apologize for that because there have been sinful and bad people on the earth and racist people on the
yeah.
earth, and there were some racist people in her area? Whatever this ball was called, it had some racist things back in the day that like happened at it. Probably like black people serving people in these big plantation homes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but something like that. So it's just at a plantation. Nothing bad happens there. There's black people attending it. Like it's
Okay.
there was nothing racist. And in the background there was like a rebel flag ish looking thing. It's real blurry. And Old Miss's flag, like the state of Mississippi, and Old Miss's flag is like half of a rebel flag. It's like
Right.
kind of hard to run away from, and like thousands and thousands of people went to that school, all colors, and for some reason she was just, you're racist. And Chris
Wow.
Harrison, I think, was kind enough. I think he knew what he was doing and the danger. He knows he's a sharp guy, but he
Yeah.
just said, hey, this was years ago. Tons of people went to that school. Tons of people went to this event and events like it, and have been for years and will continue to. Should we like maybe ask her, like give her a little grace and ask her thoughts on this, and like what she was feeling and what she thinks about it now, and if she would change anything? And it's like, how dare you ask a racist how she's feeling, you
Wow.
racist? And then like he's one too, and so he's just canceled, just for, yeah, that's honestly what happened.
Yeah. That's horrible. And not
Yeah.
only was he the host for a long, long time, but wasn't he one of the creators of the show?
He's one of the creators. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And it's just so full circle. It's one of the creators, and it's so full circle when you start giving into the wokeism. Because the
right.
girl named Lindsay something, no one really remembers except for her ruining everything. Everyone's always like, make somebody black the Bachelor, Bachelorette, and they push so hard they don't even care who it is. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like Kamala Harris. Like, let's get a black female president, or vice president. And it's like, wait, why don't we pick someone who's just qualified? There's a million black
Right.
people who are qualified for so many good jobs.
Yeah.
Let's like, don't just force it. So sure enough, this girl was not good. Her ratings were way down. Rachel Lindsay's her name. Her ratings were way down. And then also, so they did it. They gave into the wokeness, thinking this will help us, and then she ruins the show because
Oh my
ratings were
goodness.
down. And then she got rid of Chris Harrison. So it just kind of shows you, like, just be you and stop trying to please
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, that's so
Black
frustrating.
entertainment television isn't calling me right now, telling me they want me on anything. Right? It's fine. Like,
Yeah, true
just do.
story.
Right.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, no, that's everywhere, and that one, That one's frustrating, that's for sure, and I'm not even close
Yeah.
to it, I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
he's
from
a friend
someone
of
who
mine. He's a
watched
friend of
for a
mine.
long
He's
time. Well, tell him I've got
yeah,
his
he's a fr
back, because that's
I
ridiculous.
will. Yeah,
All
he's
right,
a yeah.
I wanna go into we are pretty much almost at time here, so I just briefly wanna go into you are writing music primarily. I know you play as well, but you
Yeah.
are doing a lot with writing. Where can people find you, and what do you see for yourself in the future?
Yeah, find me on anything on Apple Music, on Spotify. I'm typically kind of lean towards gearing myself on Spotify. James McCoy Taylor, and I hope you like the songs. You know, they're all out there on there. I got a couple music videos on different places, YouTube that you can find. Great Again's been my biggest hit that I wrote about the president. I was in talks with their team for a little bit to get them to play it at rallies, which still could happen, but it's looking
Cool.
like it might not for some different reasons, but it could. And I'm really close to that team and love them, and obviously doing a lot to help pull for and help Trump win and get reelected in 24. But as far as music goes, I play randomly here and there. I post about it on Instagram. If you'd like to follow me on the gram, it's just again James McCoy Taylor. I always post there and all my platforms if I'm playing a live show, and they're kind of sporadic. I got a great band in Dallas that comes and accompanies me. I love them. They're fun to play with. We put on a good show, and I'm just going to continue writing music, doing my thing there, and writing for other people in Nashville, and loving every second of it.
I love that. It was so
Yeah,
great having you on. It's so cool when you can go into a conversation, maybe not having a full picture and then having it just be painted in front of you. And so thank you so much for
yeah.
being honest and raw and open with us. And I love that you are living your true life and being who you are unapologetically. So thank you so much for that. And it's been an absolute
Thank you,
honor to have
Kristen.
you on here.
Yeah, thank you so
Absolutely.
much for having me. It really means a lot. You're great, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, anytime. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Go find James.